So I'm already aware how salty this video might come across, as though I'm really sort of taking offence for of a bit of criticism, or a bit of constructive criticism, maybe, whatever people might want to call it. And I promise it's not, but that's what you would say, wouldn't it, even if you were getting all bent out of shape. But if people are going to direct these things at me, then I'm going to respond to them sometimes. I don't respond to all of them because it's not good for my health, and I just sort of don't want to get engaged in sort of online debates with people, because you can't always read the context, you can't always read the tone, and it's just, no one's going to win from that, are they? So, but when people send me things like these, occasionally I can't help but sort of address them, because I think there's so many sort of untruths, and I think it's a little bit unfair. So so in this email you'll see me talk about there are some sort of criticisms levelled at me of the system that I provide, or the service that I provide, that I just don't think are accurate and not true. And second to that, I might not think they're accurate, and I do appreciate that other people might. So I'm going to address it here, and if people are thinking the same things, it might be that I've got it completely wrong, you know what I mean? It might be that I'm misreading the room. So if people have got some sort of issue with what I'm putting out there, what sort of content I'm putting out, then maybe we can talk about it in this video. And if you've got any other issues, don't send me an email like this, because it won't go down well. But maybe there's something I can learn from it. So you'll see in the video that this is based on an email I've just recently received from somebody about the system, and it's in response to a mail shot that I sent out for people who sign up to the newsletter on the website. So this person has signed up and has previously had 1 month's subscription to the NBM draw, and it would have been poisson as well, I think. Would it have been April? It was. I think it probably was, and that was the month when I've quite openly said I was AWOL, because I wasn't in the right state of mind to record any results or sort of interact at all. I got the sort of selections out, but I wasn't in a good place. So you'll see on the results spreadsheet on the website, it just says AWOL. It's not helpful for April, but I just didn't record the results. And it appears that perhaps they weren't very good. That they must not have been very good, because this guy wasn't very happy about them. So I'll take that on the chin. I didn't record them. Maybe it was a losing month, I don't know. It probably was, wasn't it? So this person had 1 month, and this is his response to the mail shot that I sent out, talking about how we've been doing well recently. The system is, it is what it is. It's especially with the draws, it is a long-term system. You're not going to necessarily get fast results from it. I know initially I did get fast results from it, and maybe that's where people feel a bit misled, because initially, the first couple of months, and I've come out with a big bang saying, oh, look at this, it's brilliant, and I've made hundreds of points profit in November, and I did, and I've been testing it for a long time, so I knew it worked. It was never quite that brilliant, you know. I didn't get November results every month, but I thought, you know what, this is what it is, let's put it out there. And then it hasn't been as good since then, but it's still made consistent profit. So whatever, I'm annoyed that making this video, because I don't feel like I should have to justify myself. But let's get into the video, and we'll look at how I can address these points and sort of give my take on them, and you can take it away and sort of, maybe for anybody who's new, who's thinking about subscribing, maybe I'll pin this to the top of the YouTube page, and this maybe should be the video that you watch to see if the system's for you or not, because these are sort of issues that other people are having, and these are my take on those issues, but you might have your own take. Honesty is the key to this, and that's why I'm sort of releasing this video, because I don't like my integrity and my honesty being questioned. You can question my ability to provide a good service all you want, but don't question my honesty and my integrity. So let's have a look, and we'll put up a split screen so we can see what we're talking about. So firstly, the first point that we've got is that I talked about the NBM system, how good it was, and then it tanked. As I mentioned in the intro, I don't think it has tanked. There have been periods where it's not been great, and we've gone through some losing runs. I mean, all the results are on the website apart from April, and then it has been pointed out to me that I've missed certain games as well. It's not acceptable, really. So I'll take some of the criticism on board. It's not acceptable that some of the results are missing. April withstanding, there's still some games missing apparently that I've just missed out, and it gets a bit messy And it's something that I need to sort out when I'm recording the results. Because it's a dynamic spreadsheet, it updates after every round of results automatically from the data on the internet. So when the fixtures that you see have got the real odds and the calculated odds from Poisson, and those calculated odds from Poisson will change overnight if there's been a fixture in that league. So the next day they've changed, so the value looks different because those odds compared to the actual odds, they're not the same anymore because it's midway through a game week. Even if it's one game week, it will change overnight. Every time there's a game, it will change. The averages will change, which means the goals scored and goals against at home and away, which is what Poisson uses. Everything will change. So it's really hard to keep track of what the state of play was on a set day unless I copy and paste every single spreadsheet for each day and copy it without the formulas into a new spreadsheet so that it's like static data, which is what I've started doing now so that I can give accurate results on the MBM Poisson side of things. For the draw system, there's no excuse though, really. I should have just recorded the results more accurately, and that's my own issue. And if I'm providing a service, then I should be doing that. So I take that on board that some of them are missed. This isn't what this guy's talking about. He's not talking about missed results. He's just talking about it tanking. And I don't think it has tanked. So you can go on the website and have a look at the results. July so far, let me just look at my data, 3.2 level stakes profits up so far in July, and what we're only on the 6th today, so that's fine. Overall, I think we're 181 level stakes profits up, which is about 9 months, which, you know, you can have your own definition of whether it's been successful or not. Some people that's not worth putting the money in, other people it is. That's just the state of play, and it's on the website. It's not. I'm not hiding it. It's on the website. I don't think you'll get many people who put all of the stuff on the website. I'd rather people look at it and go, you know what, them results aren't for me, and not subscribe, than people be upset with the results that they're getting and feel like I've been misleading them. So go on the website and have a look. If you think it's tanked, that you must be doing really well in all of your other ventures in terms of any betting or trading. If 181 level stakes profits over 9 months is tanking, then I want some of what you're betting on, to be honest. And like I say, it's doing well for July anyway. But I do admit the sketchy record keeping isn't acceptable, and that's something that I won't. The system I've got set up now, there's no reason why that would happen again, but it is what it is. So then we've got the fact that the Poisson, I've later talked up the Poisson distribution model, and that's tanked. It can't tank. It's a mathematical model that I've consistently said, I'm not a tipster. I'm not saying that these are going to win. I'm not using my intuition and going, I think, you know, I think looking at the maths at this, that and the other. I'm just purely on the data that is presented from the Poisson distribution model. I'm highlighting where the value is and then recording results against that value as a sort of, not an experiment, well, a little bit like an experiment, isn't it? It's a bit like constantly evolving research. So I'm recording whether those value bets have actually sort of come to fruition. The tanking bit for the Poisson, I don't know, how's it tanked? I don't get how it's tanked particularly. Again, the results on the website, only for the last 2 months, the results on the website, because this is, as I was mentioning earlier, this is hard to record the results. So sometimes I've got like 60 or 70 fixtures on a day through the 20 different leagues, and I have to go through and make a note of what Poisson predicted, then what the correct result actually was, so I can't do that till the next day, and whether the correct result was one of the 5 results, correct scores predicted in the Poisson pack, so I have to go back to check. And again, that's where the static data and the dynamic data can cause problems, because if I'm going back to check the correct scores, for example, if the Poisson data has changed overnight, the correct scores might change, and it's no longer predicting that 1-1 is one of the top 5 scores. It's now changed to 2-1 or something like that. So I have to make sure that I take snapshots of it all, which means I've got tons and tons of data, and yeah, it's just long. There's probably better ways of doing it, but I haven't found them yet. And I'm not like asking people to get the violins out. I'm just explaining that it takes time to do it. And if I'm charging money for a service, then that's on me. But I'm just explaining that I'm not just sat here twiddling my thumbs. It takes a lot of work each day. And the results are up on the website. I can't see how that's tanked, as I say. I don't know what's tanking about that, but yeah, the poisson. I think there's mad value in the poisson distribution pack. The amount of work I put in for those 20 leagues to get all of the odds off Betfair every day and updating it, and for it to generate the value picks. It's a betting tool. It's an aid to your betting selections. So yeah, like I say, I take some things on board. I don't take that tanking on board. I think it's a sort of nonsense observation. So what else? I've later bragged apparently about having an edge on corners, and they were abysmal. A couple of issues with this. One, the corner bets that I put up were pretty crap. Like I tried, so I do a lot of corner betting. I say a lot of corner betting. I'm not really betting a lot at the moment because I haven't got any money. But when I do bet, I love betting on corners, and I'm pretty successful when I do on in-play corners. And I've tried to explain a few times how what sort of game situations I'm looking for to get involved. And to be honest, I've took it on the chin that I can't explain. It's really hard to model because this one is a bit to do with intuition and reading what the game looks like and sort of predicting the attacking intent during a game. And what I've tried to do in the past is try to predict pre-game which games will have lots of corners, and you can to a certain extent, but it's really hard because you can't guarantee that a game will be played in the way that you think it will be played. Attacking momentum can so quickly change. Intent can change based on an injury during a game, or certainly sendings off. That's an obvious one. Or just a team not being at the races. A team can not be at the races, not really generate much attacking play, and still win as predicted. But they probably won't have as many corners as they normally do because they've scraped a 1-0 win by sort of grinding it out. Whereas normally you'd have expected flowing football and you'd have expected them to have shots on target and get corners. It's really hard. I'm finding it hard to predict the corners pre-game to share with you. And what I wanted to do is share with you. If I'm having success with corners, I wanted to try and share it, but it didn't work. And so I'll take that on board. Some of the tips I was putting up for corners were crap. And I've stopped posting them now because they were pretty rubbish. I can't find a way to share with you what I'm finding success with. The only way I can think of is sort of live Telegram channels where I'm saying, right, I'm putting this on this, but it could be at any time of the day, and I'm not really up for that. That doesn't sound manageable. So I'm just going to have to leave the corners alone in terms of sharing them and just keep them to myself because it's not a model. I only want to share things that have got logic and model behind it, and the corners I can't figure out. So in terms of the abysmal, yeah, they were crap for a little while, weren't they? And so I took them down. What I take issue with is the bragging. I wasn't bragging. I'm not someone who brags. I hate the whole promoting my service thing. I hate it. I wish I could give it away for free. And like, oh yeah, I'm sure you do. I do. Like, I don't like taking money off people. The amount of money that I give back to people because I feel like I'm paranoid that I've given a bad service is ridiculous. I don't brag. I'm not someone who brags. Sometimes you do have to put a bit of. I'm very well versed on SEO and keyword optimization because of my previous jobs. You do have to put keywords in to titles in search engines. Into YouTube, into the titles, into the back end, so that your videos show up. Because if I don't make great profits or football betting strategies that work, if I don't put that in, no one will find the videos, and it's pointless me doing anything. That's as simple as it. That's what I'm telling you here. Like, I don't like all that spammy shit, but no one will find the videos otherwise, and I think it's a waste if no one can see my content because I think it's useful. And nobody wants to put work in and not find it. I don't want to spend loads of money on YouTube ads, so I have to put keywords in. So if that's what he's referring to in terms of bragging, they can come across a little bit like spammy, the titles, I get that. But if you watch my content and get to know me a little bit, you'll realise, and I'll openly say, it's cuckoo clock, really annoying. I'll admit that that's why I do it. So bragging, don't come at me with words like bragging, because that's what winds me up. Don't be emailing me and saying, like, using accusatory terms and negative terms. You're throwing in the abysmal word just to try and give it some extra clout. Whatever, abysmal, you don't need to be that sort of blunt about it, but if you want it, that's cool. But don't be calling me bragging, because that's what annoys me. because that's not something that I'll subscribe to. So yeah, you can see the tone of this email is what wound me up, to be honest, rather than the content, because I can openly agree with some of the content. So now apparently I've had a bit of lucky variance on the correct score suggestions from the poisson pack, and that's the new sales pitch. Again, it's like a little dig at me selling what I'm doing. If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. Like, and I know that's a real cop out, like, oh, if you don't like it, unsubscribe, and that does sound salty, I get that. But like, I don't put the hard sell on people. I don't accept that I put the hard sell on people. Like I say, I've got to promote my subscription. I've got to promote my work, because otherwise no one's going to find it. I'm not going to get anywhere. That's just the way life is, especially for someone who's self-employed like myself. If I don't get out there and graft and try and get people to see what I'm doing and for me to sort of generate business, no one's gonna pay me. So yeah, it's a bit crude in that sense, but that's just the way it is. So this is the new sales pitch, apparently. Yeah, it is. That is what I'm working on at the moment. The poisson pack. That's what I'm pouring a lot of my time into. I don't agree with that. I've had a little bit of lucky variance on the correct scores. The Dutching is a well-known sort of strategy, a massive trading strategy for Betfair traders. The correct score Dutching, and you can do correct score Dutching without using my poisson pack at all. You can just think, right, these are the 5 score lines that I think are probably most likely based on my own research. Again, if you want to do that research yourself, that's fine. What I'm doing is using data to generate those 5 score lines. So instead of saying, oh, I fancy 1-0 today just because so-and-so hasn't scored for a while, or, you know, they've got a key defender back, so you can do it that way, that's fine. And there is a lot of mileage in incorporating that as well. I'm choosing to do it a different way and to use the data to suggest what the top 5 score lines are. And it's not lucky variance that the score lines are coming in, because really you're covering a lot of the bases. It's not lucky variance, and it's also not genius either. 5 scores in a match are quite a lot of scores to cover, really. If you split your stake 5 ways, you're giving yourself a good chance of hitting them, aren't you? Especially when you're using the data to model where you think that result's going to go. So you're not just picking any random game and going, right, I'm going to guess 5 correct scores. What you're doing is using the historical data to show which team is likely to come out on top in a game like this, how many goals there are likely to be based on the records of the 2 teams, and then once you've decided who's likely to win, or once the system's decided who's likely to win, how many goals there are likely to be, then that really narrows down what score lines there could be, doesn't it? And so if you're then using 5 of those scores, there's a good chance you're going to hit quite often, and that's just a fact. So I don't think that's lucky variance. And you can see we've had a month and a half's worth of data on there, which is a good few hundred games. Yeah, again, you can read that how you like. The lucky variance, don't get me wrong, I'm into big data sets, and I agree that the bigger the data set, the better. You could look at the NBM, the draw selections, and say the data set wasn't large enough when we first started out in November. And you know what? I hadn't got records to prove what I was selling at that point. Even though I had done the research and had done it over hundreds of thousands of games, not hundreds of thousands, hundreds or thousands, I hadn't got it in a spreadsheet to show people, so I get that. The more data, the better, but I personally don't think this is down to variance. So yeah, and then the last one, which to be honest really annoys me, is if I had an edge, why am I selling it and why am I making tons of profit and protecting it? And that's just something that gets wheeled out all the time. I've read that so often on other people's sort of posts. That's not the way the world works, is it? If you go to a mortgage advisor, does that mean that the mortgage advisor should be able to buy every house under the sun because he's advising you on how to sort of on how to sort of structure your mortgage? Surely if you're telling me how to buy a house and finance a house, why aren't you financing that house and buying it yourself? It doesn't work like that. So if you go to the bank manager and talk about loans and stuff like this, so if you go to the bank manager, why isn't the bank manager having that loan and taking all that money? Football managers, sort of, you got like Jose Mourinho wasn't a world-class player, but he can sort of get the best out of players. And let's not go down the Jose Mourinho, how good he is or bad he is route, but you don't have to be doing what you're preaching, if you like, to sort of be taken seriously. That's a proper crap out, isn't it? Basically, I can be an expert in something. I'm not saying I'm necessarily an expert, but I can be an expert at something and share that knowledge with someone without having to demonstrate that I'm doing it myself, especially in football betting, because if I haven't got the money to do it, does that mean I'm not allowed to talk about it? So I haven't got a big bankroll at the moment. I'm scraping around. Finance is pretty tough, like it is for a lot of you, which is why I'm really conscious about the price point and bringing that down. I haven't got disposable income to be putting onto football trading at the moment, unfortunately. But it doesn't mean that I can't still advise you on this model and where I think good money can be made, and that clearly can be made from the spreadsheets. So I've sort of changed to, instead of getting my satisfaction from watching a bankroll accrue by betting on these things, I get the satisfaction by seeing that spreadsheet accrue green and knowing that it's working, and I get a little buzz out of every time there's a draw. I get the same sort of buzz out of if I had money on it, because it means that the spreadsheet looks good and that people are going to be making money off the selections. The fact whether I'm putting money on it or not is irrelevant. Like, so you're only going to take advice from someone who sort of poses on the thumbnail in a Mercedes, throwing cash over their shoulder, saying, "Oh, I've made so much money in this betting game. Like, yeah, come and follow me." All that bullshit. Like, if that's what ticks your boxes, then yeah, there's loads of people that you can go and follow that'll talk about that. And you know, I don't. It's going to annoy me when people talk about what I should be doing with my money. And they've got no idea of my personal circumstances. It's nonsense. And also selling your edge. Like, do you really think somebody with 2,000 YouTube subscribers is going to make a dent on the odds in the betting world? It's really not. Like, me selling my edge, the amount of people that take notice of what I'm doing are so minimal that you're not going to see odd shifts by me giving my odds, giving my tips, or they're not tips, you know what I mean? Like, by my service is not going to cause any shifts in odds. Basically, you'd need thousands and thousands of people to be jumping on the same selections for the odds to be reflected by that, and that's not happening. So selling an edge, that's nonsense anyway. That's not relevant. And commenting on my personal use of football trading, you don't know anything. Nobody knows what's going on in another person's life. So just be kind. Which the tone of these emails aren't always kind. There's no need for it. But also just be respectful that not everybody's in the same situation as you are. And secondly, more importantly maybe, with the why aren't you making loads of money doing betting? Betting is a dangerous game for someone with mental health issues. Very dangerous, and I've spoken about mental health issues a lot on the channel, and it sort of gets a lukewarm reception, and I get that. People don't come here to listen to that, so I've toned it down, and I don't tend to release videos talking about it because it's not what people want to hear. Maybe this isn't the forum for it. And I took on board a comment on one of the videos that I put out about mental health, and someone put, like, you know, I appreciate you struggling, this, that and the other, but this probably isn't the place for it. And I get it, yeah, cool, man. Like, yeah, people probably don't want to talk about it when they're coming to do this. If they wanted mental health advice, they'd go somewhere else. I get that. So I don't want to talk about it too much. But me personally, it's not good for me to be betting when I'm not feeling good. And it's not good for anyone to do that. So don't comment on why I am and why I'm not doing certain things without looking at the rest of the context behind my life. If you don't want to follow the tip, if you don't want to follow me, if you don't like me, that's cool. Like, seriously, it's not. I'm not salty about it. It's all right. You can't please everybody. But what I do resent is people using these loaded terms like bragging, latest sales pitches, your stuff's tanking, this, that, and the other, making out that I'm deceiving people, because that's not what I'm doing. I'm not deceiving, or if I am deceiving anyone, it's purely by accident and through a lack of communication, which is probably my issue. Yeah, I feel like, look, I've probably been through this enough now. The amount of people who've got this far in the video is probably minimal. I just wanted to get that out for my own peace of mind. I'm not replying to any emails about it, so I'm not replying to that email because I can't reply to it without coming across really aggressively, and I don't want that. Hopefully the person will watch this video, you know, whatever. cut the name out of the email. I'm not trying to out anybody. I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? Like, that's you. That's you want to send those emails. I just want people to be aware of that there's somebody else on the other end that doesn't necessarily feel great when they read emails like that. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. All the results are on the website. All of the results are going to be updated pretty much daily now, so it's completely transparent. If you want to join me. If not, that's fine. Just carry on watching. It doesn't cost anything to watch and subscribe to the videos. You don't have to join the membership at all. I love having chats with followers, subscribers. I'd never say, oh well, come and join if you want to know answer a question. I email people all the time about trying to set up their own systems and stuff. It's cool, man. Like, just let it be what it is. There's no hidden agenda from my end. I'm openly selling what I'm selling. I'm openly not selling advice. If you want to ask me for advice, I'm not going to email you back and say, oh well, you should subscribe to my system. It's cool, man. I'm just a normal person, obviously, who is trying to sort of find ways to make a bit of money in these hard times, but without deception. If you want that sort of Facebook millionaire person to follow, then that's not going to be me, is it? So, you know what? It's all good. Have a great day. Stay being kind and take it easy.